I'm Lauren Decker, Youth Librarian for the Kershaw County Library. Welcome, little explorers! I'm here today with my friend, Miss Elena Gaston, who is a former biology teacher with the Kershaw County School System. She's got something really special for you today. We're going to have so much fun. She's reading a story first, and then we are going to make what she is reading about. The story is called Gazpacho for Nacho, and I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about the way she's reading her story, because it sounds really different from the way I would read the story. So here's Miss Elena.
Thank you, Miss Lauren. Hola, I'm Elena, and I'm going to read Gazpacho for Nacho. And the reason I say it a little bit differently than Miss Lauren is because I was born and raised in Spain, all over across the Atlantic Ocean in Europe. And in Spain, the letter Z, we pronounce it th instead of S. And that's just a little bit something interesting about Spain you may not have known about. But I am going to read you the story about Gazpacho for Nacho, about a little boy that likes to cook and learns to cook. And then I'm going to show you how to make gazpacho, which is a typical Spanish summer soup. It is cold, it's full of veggies, and if you and your parents may be growing a garden at your own backyard, you may be even be able to do it yourself with your own vegetables.
So we're going to be as careful as we can with our social distancing, but I hope to be helping some over there in our kitchen, which was funded through a grant to the Kershaw County Library. Oh, the recipe. Let's talk about the recipe though. It's in the book, but
in the book, the recipe that they share includes canned tomatoes, and while you can make this recipe with canned tomatoes, let's say you love it so much you want to get it done in the winter, well, the tomatoes may not be as fresh, you can use canned tomatoes. Also saves time prepping. But the best gazpacho is with fresh, juicy tomatoes, or tomates.
So we're ready?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
All right, let's get started. Gazpacho for Nacho by Tracy Kyle, illustrated by Carolina Farias. In a big city by a large, busy plaza lived a very small boy in a simple white casa. The name of this tiny muchacho was Nacho, and all he would eat was a soup called gazpacho. Gazpacho for breakfast, gazpacho for lunch, gazpacho for dinner, for snacks, and for brunch. He didn't like meat or the smell of pescado. He didn't like chicken or ice-cold helado. And when he saw slices of manchego cheese, he asked, "Is there any gazpacho left, please?" Mommy would say, "You're a picky muchacho." Nacho would say, "But I just want gazpacho." At breakfast, he woke up to leche and churros. He cried, "Mommy, this is food for the burros." For snacks, Mommy sliced up chorizo and bread. Nacho would ask for gazpacho instead. At lunchtime, Mommy served Spanish tortilla. Nacho would put the pan under the silla. At dinner, Mommy fried mushrooms, or setas, and served them with rice next to crispy croquetas. She filled up a bowl with fresh loaves of pan and whipped up a custard dessert he called flan. All of the food was rejected by Nacho. "Gazpacho, gazpacho," he cried. "Más gazpacho!" There wasn't a plato that Nacho wouldn't touch. Mommy grew tired from cooking so much. "Nacho," she cried, "it's not right. No es justo that all of these meals are not to your gusto. You're coming with me to the market. We're shopping. I'm learning to cook? Nacho asked, his eyes popping. The market was bustling. People were looking for all the legumbres they needed for cooking. Nacho's mouth watered while gazing at piles of colorful vegetables stretched out for miles. Onions, potatoes, cebollas y papas, bamboo and spinach, bambú, espinacas, cucumbers, mushrooms, pepinos y setas, lettuce and lentils, lechuga, lentejas, corn, avocados, maíz, aguacates, and last but not least, bright red juicy tomates. Tomatoes, Mommy said, for you to cook Nacho. You learn to prepare your beloved gazpacho. Olé! Nacho cried. I can cook, yes I can. And off to the puestos of veggies he ran. He gathered tomates that smelled fresh and clean, and found a pepino whose skin was dark green. Among all the colorful, fresh alimentos, he picked out a few crispy green pimientos. He added a small clove of garlic or ajo, and set off for home to begin el trabajo. Dressing the part with a huge chef's sombrero, Nacho felt just like a true cocinero. With bright red tomates piled up to his chin, he looked up at Mommy and said, let's begin. They cored and they sliced and they diced and they seeded the pounds of tomatoes and peppers they needed. Mommy then carefully chopped a cebolla. Nacho helped, finding a pot, a large olla. Nacho, said Mommy, I need the pepino. He gave her the cucumber. What a good niño. Mommy then crumbled some bread in the pot and left it to soak till it softened a lot. They sprinkled some sal and it flew through the air. Hi, Nacho, cried Mommy. The bowl's over there. Lastly, she drizzled a very small drop of oil and vinegar over the top. She blended the soup in a big batidora and left it to chill in the fridge for 1 hora. Dinner that night was a wonderful treat. Nacho, called Mommy. La cena, come eat. Nacho rushed into the kitchen and saw the bowls of gazpacho and stood there in awe. Bowl after bowl after bowl of gazpacho, cooked by a clever, creative muchacho. He sat down to eat with a giant sonrisa and finished the soup very quick, deprisa. Nacho was happy, but deep in his heart, he knew that gazpacho was only the start. He thought of the fresh, tasty meals he would make, the foods he would cook, and the sweets he would bake. Eagerly off to the kitchen he dashed, where all the legumbres, the veggies, were stashed. Mommy, he said, though I love my gazpacho, I'm trying new recipes. Call me Chef Nacho. The end. Well, let's go ahead and begin with our recipe for gazpacho. Today we're going to need about 2 pounds of tomatoes. Usually I like big slicing tomatoes like these, but also the Roma tomatoes work very, very well. We're going to need 1 clove of garlic, an onion, usually about 1/4 of an onion, but it's up to taste. If you like the onion a lot, you can add a lot more. Also, traditionally, you may leave this out. There is some controversy about whether gazpacho truly has onion in it or not. I like it with. And then we're going to use 1/3 to 1/2 of a pepper, green pepper. You can also add red pepper if you like the taste of it. And also a whole cucumber. This is going to bring a lot of water and flavor into the recipe. all of these need to be peeled and chopped. So we're gonna peel the tomatoes. If you find it hard to peel the tomatoes, you can either use canned or you can boil some water and with a knife make an X at the top of the tomato, drop it in the boiling water for just a couple minutes, and then bring it out carefully, and that will peel beautifully.
That's called blanching, isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You can do that also to preserve vegetables in the freezer.
Exactly.
Yes. Lots of multi-uses for the water here. The pepper can be peeled too. It's a little bit more work intensive, but I feel it gives it a more smooth texture. My mother usually does not peel the pepper. I like to peel it. And then the cucumber peeled as well. We also like to use olive oil. This is a must, that it has to be olive oil to be true to the traditional recipe. You can use extra virgin, light, it's up to taste. If you like a strong olive oil flavor, you want to use the extra virgin. If you don't like the olive oil taste to be so strong, a light one will be better. And then white wine vinegar. Other vinegars may work as well if you have them at the house, but this is the traditional vinegar that we use in Spain. And also a blender. This is going to be a very simple recipe. You just have to peel, put it all in the blender, push a button, chill for an hour, and it's ready to eat.
I'm looking forward to this. I
Yes,
like
ma'am.
all those
So
vegetables.
Are you ready, Ms. Lauren?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm going
Give
to
me
give
something
you.
to do.
Would you like to peel some tomatoes
No.
or a pepper?
No.
How about the onion?
Onion, half, you said?
About a quarter.
No,
Let's
you
start
said
with a
quarter.
quarter, and then, one more thing. Also, need some salt, but that's also to flavor. So,
I forgot to bring the salt. We will have to add salt later.
well, we are making it for heart friendly today.
There you go. Yes.
Alright, so quarter onion, and then also if you can free up one garlic clove.
Okay.
And I'm gonna get to peeling the tomatoes.
This is a very juicy onion.
Ooh.
See, I have the easy task, I think. Yes. I don't know that I've ever actually peeled a,
I just discovered this.
did you? That sounds like a great
I
idea.
probably could have brought my knife too. I should have brought all my knives. But it's okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I'm about to start crying for this onion.
Oh, no.
Only one slice. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna leave that right there. So you only want one clove of garlic.
Yes, one will be enough. If you want more, you can have some more later.
Hmm? All right, so garlic is. Now, do you need this chopped up in any way? No? No, you don't want
Just
it
pick
minced?
that little end,
Yeah.
and that will be it.
Okay. That's pretty garlic. This garlic came from my garden.
Ooh.
Very pleased with that.
Is it difficult to grow garlics? 'Cause
I don't do anything to grow garlic. I
What?
kind of, no, it's, there's a plot, there's an area that was there when I bought the house, and it keeps coming up naturally, so I put some seed out in November, and I just let it do its thing, and I am able to harvest garlic in about May, June, I
Wow.
think it is.
I need to do that because I love garlic. I think the other day, I can't remember what I was making,
Mhm.
but there was probably like a dozen cloves of garlic in the whole
Oh
recipe.
my gosh.
Like between all the sides and the.
Yeah.
if
Well,
you can.
I gave my sister some of the seed from this, and she has been growing garlic from my seed, so you're welcome to it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now we're cutting this in about
In
half, you
half,
said.
And just take the seeds out and maybe.
Okay, a friend of mine and I have had this discussion. How do you cut a pepper? She
Okay.
will cut a pepper from the center down to take the seed out. I like to cut my pepper in half with the, just kind of work around the seed. What do you say?
With bell peppers, I usually do the half and then.
That's me too. But no, she, and so I'm doing it.
But if I need to stuff them, then
Yes, you have to go down through the middle, don't you?
we don't use the whole pepper in our house.
No? Ooh, there go the seeds. See the seeds, guys? The seeds are all over the place. They're tiny little things. If you have never cut up a pepper before, you got all those seeds, and usually you have your garbage can close by, and you just empty as much as you possibly can into the garbage.
You know, all this cutting
Yeah.
things. I need to do one of our science things since we are composting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The science of composting.
So instead of throwing out all these extra things, you compost it. You put it into the dirt with other leaves and some green things,
Right.
right?
You can put some eggshells for calcium,
Mm-hmm.
but no bones, no meat, no fat.
That's right. All of your vegetable clippings. Okay, there we go. That's a nice clean.
That's a
pepper.
very nice clean. That's ready for stuffing.
Yeah, it is. Do you like stuffed peppers?
I do love stuffed
Me
peppers.
too. Me too. Okay.
How do you make them?
Actually, I have started to make them, not started it for a while now, I've been making them in the microwave.
What?
It is so much quicker.
Oh my
And
goodness.
to me, it doesn't taste any different than cooking them in the oven. Really nice.
That's
So I'll have to give you that little recipe.
yes.
Okay, you wanted half?
Yes. Half to a third to half, but we can use a whole half if you want to.
I think I have done my part. That's everything you need from
Beautiful.
me, right? And you don't want to cut any smaller.
Well, you can, if you want to cut them in half each, that way they can, because these tomatoes are taking a whole lot of room in the blender. Might have to blend them a little bit first.
So cut my peppers smaller.
Yeah.
You said you peel your peppers? Your mom does, but you don't?
My mom doesn't peel the peppers, but I do.
But you do.
I found that the texture, the pepper skin does separate in the process of blending, and it creates these little flakes
Mhm.
that I don't particularly like.
So, could I see, I have never, ever peeled a pepper.
Okay.
Could you peel a pepper, just one of these?
It will take me no time.
Okay, I'd like to see that happen. And actually, I think I'll cut the garlic up just a little bit because it might be easier to blend also. Okay? Yeah, let's, just like you do, just the way you use a peeler. Look at that. It's harder to do now that I cut the pieces even smaller, I'm sure
No.
No? Really?
Either way, I mean,
Either way?
it gives me an easy start, but yeah.
Okay.
I also have a white peeler at home.
I have to show you how to do a peeler. Wait, I gotta try this. When you're done with that, I think all the professional cooks tell you that you're supposed to peel away from you.
Yeah, that's what we say in the
See?
science lab too.
But you don't always, and actually, I was like you. I don't find it so hard to do anymore to peel away from me. Now, let's say potatoes peel very easily away from me.
Yes.
This takes a little bit of effort, but it's doable. Interesting.
That to me takes away those little flakes that can, if you have texture,
Yeah.
sensitivity, it changes. It makes it a lot nicer and smoother. There you go.
Yeah. Wait, well, I'm not gonna mess with that. Do you want me to peel these others?
It's up to you. I can work on the cucumber in the meantime.
Oh, okay. I will then.
Go ahead and put this in the trash.
Or compost.
Or compost.
Man, it's not so hard to peel a pepper after all. I'm surprised.
Yeah, that was my little experimenting, since I'd noticed that it was the pepper that was giving it that texture that I found a little not appetizing.
Mm-hmm.
But this recipe is super flexible. You can play with any of the ingredients, adding more or less, or taking them apart.
And as you said to me, if you're growing a garden, many of these things are very easy to grow in your garden. I have a garden at home of tomatoes and beans and the garlic, and that's about it. So I'd have to purchase the onion, and that's it, right?
Right.
Oh, and cucumbers, but cucumbers are very easy to grow. I just have not.
If you need cucumbers, I'll give you cucumbers. I should have brought you some.
I love
My
cucumbers.
goodness. I planted them together with my squash, and the squash looked like a jungle very early on, and so it stunted the cucumbers.
Right.
But now that the squash is done,
You
those cucumbers are ridiculously overgrown.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay,
One
there's-
thing, if you don't think that you're going to use the leftover vegetables in another recipe, one thing that we also do is after the gazpacho is mixed up, you can dice the rest of the vegetables that you don't use in the soup, and then add them on after the soup has been chilled as crunchy bits. Also in the book it mentions softened bread. We're not going to do that here. That is my preference, not to add the bread softened in the gazpacho, but that does not take away from the traditional recipe. I like to dip my bread in the soup. I think it's delicious.
Yeah.
So that's something else that you can play with, adding on bread, softened or not softened, adding croutons for a little more crunchy bite. And then we can make it your own.
You eat this cold.
Cold. Yes, ma'am.
Appetizer?
Appetizer.
before
Kind of like
you-
I put it usually instead of a salad.
Oh.
Or actually, this is not if you're trying to eat a little bit more healthy, this is a perfect pairing for while you're cooking. You can drink your gazpacho, and it works as hydrating, and it starts filling up your stomach a little bit, so that you don't eat as much during lunch.
And it's all vegetable.
That's right.
Ooh, I like it. I like it.
Alright, so we have the tomatoes, the peppers, the cucumbers are getting in here. The cucumber is going in there.
I almost need a
Yeah.
bigger blender.
But as soon as I chop it up a little bit.
You'll have
It
more
will get
space for.
Okay, can I use this napkin?
Yeah, yeah. We have more.
Okay, there you go. Alright, now I'm going to add the olive oil. In the book it says a sprinkle, and I had to laugh at that the first time I read it because it does not use a sprinkle of oil, but you can if it's what you want. We're going to use between 1/3 to 1/2 of a cup of olive oil. But olive oil is a very healthy fat. And as a science teacher, I know that you need fat in your body, and this is an excellent source of fat. So we're going to use a generous serving. I'm just going to go in between. All right, yes, that's close enough. And this is going to give it a creamy texture. It's hard to explain, but you definitely feel it in your tongue that there is this creaminess added by the fat of the olive oil. Right, and then you want about 2 to 3 tablespoons of vinegar to taste. My dad loves vinegar. He puts vinegar in everything, so he likes a healthy dose of vinegar in this too. I'm more of I like the olive oil.
Do you want the tablespoon measurement, or are you going to use that same?
I was just going to eye it here.
Okay.
That way it's going to take away the rest of the olive oil sticking in.
Okay. So you're getting like a quarter of a cup of that too.
A little bit less, yes.
A little bit less.
Yeah, quarter cup is about 4 tablespoons, so I'm putting about 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a little handy chart in my kitchen
Yeah. Nice.
to know how many tablespoons are there in cups, because I like precise measurements, science, and I run out of spoons very often.
Uh-huh.
So I need to have my equivalent measurements. All right, close it up a little bit. We need the onion and the garlic, which we'll put in a minute here.
Keep your hand on top.
Yes, make sure it doesn't blow
Yeah,
out.
I think we're good then.
All right, so it's gonna be loud. All right, I'm gonna add the onion and the garlic now. Thank you. And that's it.
I don't know why, but for some reason I was thinking this was going to be green. Don't ask me why when you're putting in 3 red tomatoes. But,
It can be. I'm going to unplug this. Safety first. It can be. It depends on the tomatoes, but you
You
can
can
have.
use green tomatoes in here?
It would change the taste, but you could.
Oh.
But I have found that some, especially store-bought tomatoes, they can be really red and beautiful outside, and if they're not really red on the inside, it will be a paler pink color.
No kidding.
But I have had that happen with my tomatoes in the garden, but the flavor obviously was still so yummy. We did not add salt. You can add salt to your liking. This is it. You just let it chill for like an hour. Make sure it's nice and cold. If you just can't wait, this is not traditional, but you can add some ice to chill it, kind of like in a beverage, and you just drink it, or you can eat it with soup with a spoon. You can drink it out of a cup. So, would you like to try it?
Oh, yeah. Wait, so hold on to that. Let me I've got that little cup.
Yeah,
And that way you can taste that and I will taste from the cup.
that works.
If I can find that cup. So here it is. Oh, we have more spoons. And maybe we should give some to Rachel so she can try it. Rachel is filming for us and we say thank you very, very much. Okay, so another spoon and a little cup for whomever wants it.
This one's gonna fill it up a little faster.
So, and it's like, is that a chunky kind of?
This is a chunky consistency. If you would like it a more smooth consistency, you can pass it through I can't remember what it's called.
Sieve?
A sieve. It looks like a bowl and it has a handle that turns around.
Oh, a mill, an apple mill kind of thing?
I'll have to look up the name, but it makes it a lot thinner and more soup-like than a chunky consistency.
But if we couldn't keep it in there longer, like.
In the blender,
Yeah, there are different settings, puree kind
yeah,
of
I
thing?
use liquefied, which is towards the top.
Yeah,
Oh wait, it was on the low end.
yeah, if you,
I can try again and
let's
see.
see what happens. I bet.
There are some blenders that make like super smooth blending. So
That one might.
plug it in. Yeah, it does look a little
Yeah.
smoother.
So you can run it in your blender, it sounds like. Well, if you have a good quality blender that has lots of settings on it, you can run it slowly and you'd come away with something chunky. Or if you ran it faster and longer, it seems to liquefy smoother, doesn't it?
That's right.
Well, you try it and it'll say, this is chunky, I'm trying.
Yeah, I can't wait to try it, and you can try the smooth one. And it doesn't have salt. You have to remember that.
Yeah, but you can taste every flavor of vegetable. It's really cool.
I'll try the little spoon.
And I think actually I can really taste that onion in this one. So I might go less with onion, I think. But you are the expert. What do you think?
It's very good.
It's good.
Like I want to put the ice on and drink it right now.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
But this is kind of one of those again.
This is great.
With the cooling off, it tastes better cold, and tomorrow it will be even better. And then you can keep it in the fridge. I would say no more than 3 to 4 days, because the vinegar is going to start breaking down all the vegetables, and it will start turning the taste. I mean, it's still edible. It's just the taste is not going to be as good after 3 to 4 days.
So is this a way to give those children who do not like vegetables their daily ration of vegetable?
Definitely. My girls, I have twin girls that are 3, and I tried to get them to eat that. They still choose not to, even though one of them loves this book. She knows what gazpacho is, but she still hasn't tried it yet.
Hasn't tried this yet, even?
Yeah, but I have offered it to them. It's just, it has to be their choice.
Oh.
But definitely.
And Rachel, how about you? Try it? She's saying yes. You're allowed to speak, it's okay. So, thank you, Miss Elena.
My
this
pleasure.
has been fabulous, and I'm really excited. I'm not quite sure how we're going to divvy up this gazpacho, because I think I'd like to take the whole thing home with me.
You can.
And I hope you at home have a chance to make it, try it. You'll see the recipe in this video. I think you can stop the video and write down those ingredients at home, or maybe you just remember. I mean, it's really very easy to do, isn't it?
Very easy.
Miss Elena's going to be back. Not sure exactly when, but I hope you'll come join us when you see it advertised, and I look forward to that, and I thank you very much for being here today.
Same here. Thank you for having me and letting me share a little bit of my culture with
It's
everybody.
great. It's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.